Welcome back. As we enter the Sweet 16, we've seen numerous double-digit seeds advance past the first weekend. In the East region, the UCLA Bruins have made quite the Sweet 16 run, defeating Michigan State in the first 4 games before reeling off wins against BYU and Abilene Christian. Fresh off a Pac-12 tournament championship, Oregon State is still dancing after pulling off back-to-back upsets, knocking off Tennessee and Oklahoma State. Syracuse is back in the Sweet 16 after defeating San Diego State and Texas Tech, set to take on Houston in the next round. Oral Roberts is only the second 15 seed to make the Sweet 16 after upsetting Ohio State and Florida. The Golden Eagles will match up with Arkansas for their chance to advance to the Elite Eight. I'm joined by Marena, Sever and Jaelyn Colvin to debate on which double-digit seed is most likely to advance.
I think at this point I am rooting for all of the double-digit seeds just because of how busted my bracket is personally and the fact that Kansas is out of the tournament after that embarrassment of a game last night. So I'm rooting for these Cinderella stories, and there are, I believe, 4 left in the tournament in the Sweet 16 that are double digits, which is really incredible. Of course, especially Oral Roberts being the first 15 seed to do that since FGCU a couple years ago. But of those 4 seeds left, if we're talking about which one I believe in the most, I have the most faith in to advance, I have to say Syracuse. They have a Hall of Fame coach in Jim Boeheim, and he has coached them through situations like this before. If we remember back to 2016, I'm pretty sure they made the Final Four as a 10 seed. And so they're at 11 this year, and I think they're underseeded. I think they should have been way higher. I don't know if it was just by virtue of being in the ACC where they weren't playing great teams because those teams didn't fare as well as they usually do. I don't know what it is, but you watch them play and they're just so incredibly dominant. And they beat West Virginia, they beat San Diego State, and I just think they can do it. I have faith in them.
I think Syracuse is a great option, but I also want to give UCLA a little limelight. They've definitely done a lot this season with their lockdown defense. They have what it takes to make it to the next level. And after their win against Abilene Christian and being an 11 seed, going this far in the bracket, that's pretty tremendous to me. As well as the fact that what they're best at is defense and forcing turnovers. And with that being said, all across the board, all their players are good scorers. They all average 15, 17 points a game. And I think right now in this tournament, with upsets like Ohio State, Iowa, Kansas, it's because it's the schools with a dominant player, such as Cade Cunningham. People like that, where we see a great player and we think, oh, they're going to lead us. And in this case, I think it's about being consistent and being consistent across the boards.
Yeah, and UCLA definitely is. And if we're picking the 2 that I believe in the most, I would say the debate is between Syracuse and UCLA, so this works out well. Of course, I will say I'm rooting for Oral Roberts. They're my number 1 right now. But if we're looking head-to-head versus UCLA and Syracuse, Syracuse has had to do more to get where they are. Syracuse beat West Virginia, knocked them off in a really close matchup. UCLA just had to beat Abilene Christian, a 14 seed. And of course, they did beat Texas, but that game was a nightmare for Texas, more so than it was a wonderful game for Abilene Christian. And that was by the skin of their teeth that they got by on some free throws even to win. And again, Syracuse is more experienced in terms of coaching. Their team is generally older, I think, than UCLA's team if you're looking head-to-head. And if you consider the matchups, Syracuse has to go on and play Houston, whereas UCLA has to play Bama. I think Bama can lock down UCLA. I'm not as confident that Houston has what it takes to stop Syracuse because Houston has weak defense. They don't have a center to guard Dolezaj, who is he's an animal. And I don't know. I just have complete faith in Syracuse. And something that's really interesting that I learned when I was reading up on more of it. Buddy Boeheim is putting up better tournament numbers than Carmelo Anthony did in the 2003 tournament. That's insane to me. He's averaging 27.5 points per game. He's shooting 57% from 3. How do you shut that down? I don't think Houston's going to be able to, and I think I believe in Syracuse more so than any other double-digit.
There's no debate that Syracuse is a tremendous team. But when I'm looking at the tournament, tremendous teams are being knocked out back and forth, back and forth. And one thing good about UCLA is their bracket. And with that being said, UCLA only had 8 turnovers against Abilene Christian, who forced 23 on Texas this past week. So when you look at UCLA and you look at Alabama, they're both defensive teams. So it's really just going to be who plays better defensively. And when you look at Alabama, they're a scoring team, but they also rely on one player. And with that being said, it's going to be a score-off. And so if Alabama's starting players don't play well, then they're out of the tournament.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see for sure. I, of course, again, I'm rooting for both of these teams to advance. I just want the underdogs to win because I think that's been the theme of this tournament. And I will agree with you that UCLA has a better path to advancing further, but they have to get back past this matchup first with Bama, like you said. And I guess we'll just have to see what happens, but I'm excited for sure for the games to keep going.
We'll see this week. So that's all the time we have. We'll be kicking it back to Jacob.
As always, head over to sided.co and the Sided Debates app for your chance to climb up that leaderboard. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TakeAsideKU and tag us in all your hot takes. For all of us here at Take A Side, I'm Jacob Polacheck, and we'll see you again soon.